Have you ever caught yourself feeling guilty for taking a nap in the middle of the day, even though you've earned every moment of rest? Or maybe you've declined an invitation and then spent hours second-guessing yourself, wondering if you let someone down. You're not alone. Guilt has a sneaky way of following us around, especially as we get older. But the truth is, after 60, it's time to start letting some of that guilt go. You've lived a full, rich life filled with responsibilities, sacrifices, and constant juggling. Now, your peace should matter just as much, if not more, than pleasing everyone around you. In this video, we're going to talk heart to heart about 6 things you should stop feeling guilty about. Not just to feel better in the moment, but to truly start living lighter, freer, and more in tune with yourself. This is your time. A time for ease, for joy, for protecting your mental space like a sacred garden. Let's start clearing some of the weeds, beginning with one of the biggest guilt triggers of all, saying no. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? 2 little letters. But for many of us, especially those raised to be caregivers, nurturers, peacekeepers, it's one of the hardest things to say. Maybe it's your grown children asking for help with the grandkids every weekend, or your neighbor expecting you to be the go-to pet sitter every time they leave town. Saying yes all the time can feel like the right thing to do. It might even feel like love. But here's the thing. Love doesn't mean self-sacrifice every single time. You're allowed to say no without guilt. In fact, sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for others. Your energy is not endless. Your time is precious. If something doesn't feel right, if your body's asking for rest, or if your spirit just wants a quiet afternoon with a good book, you don't owe anyone an explanation. A simple "I can't today, but I hope it goes well" is enough. You are not letting anyone down by honoring your needs. You're showing others that boundaries are healthy and peace is worth protecting. And speaking of peace, let's talk about letting go of the guilt around not being as busy as you used to be. There was a time when your calendar was packed. Between work, family, chores, errands, it probably felt like you were moving nonstop. And now, things have slowed down. Maybe you've retired or your children have grown and flown the nest. There's more quiet in your day, more space to breathe. But instead of soaking in that space, many people start to feel uncomfortable in it. They ask themselves, should I be doing more? Am I wasting time? What's my purpose now? But let me ask you this. Who said a full life has to mean a full schedule? You've done the hustle. You've carried the weight. You've earned the right to slow down. Rest is not laziness, it's medicine. Stillness is not a void, it's a gift. Every quiet moment you spend watching the sunrise, tending to your garden, or simply sipping tea in peace. That's you honoring the rhythm of life. Nature doesn't bloom all year long, neither should we. So if your day feels calm, that's a beautiful thing. Don't let guilt trick you into thinking you need to be doing something to be valuable. You already are valuable, just by being here, just by being you. And while we're on the subject of doing, let's talk about one more thing that tends to haunt people after 60, guilt over past mistakes. We all carry a few of those moments with us. Times when we said the wrong thing, or stayed silent when we should have spoken up. Choices we made that didn't turn out how we'd hoped. Maybe there's a relationship you wish you handled differently, or an opportunity you wish you'd taken. It's natural to look back, but guilt has a way of turning reflection into punishment. Let's pause and take a breath here, because this is important. You did the best you could with the knowledge, tools, and experience you had at the time. Read that again if you need to. You did the best you could. Yes, maybe now, with the wisdom you've gained, you'd do it differently. But that wisdom came through those very experiences. Carrying guilt like a heavy backpack won't change the past, it just weighs down your present. You deserve to put it down. Instead of guilt, try compassion. Instead of regret, try gratitude for how far you've come and for all the growing you've done along the way. Life doesn't come with a map. We all get lost sometimes. What matters most is that we keep walking and keep learning. Now that we've talked about the power of saying no, the beauty of slowing down, and the importance of letting go of past mistakes, let's continue this conversation. All right, let's keep the conversation going. We've already touched on a couple of things you can let go of without guilt after 60, and I hope it's already helping you feel a little lighter. Sometimes it just takes someone giving you permission, or reminding you that you don't have to carry everything on your shoulders forever. So let's keep going. Because your peace of mind, your joy, and your sense of self, all of that matters now more than ever. Let's talk about something that sneaks up on a lot of people, the guilt of slowing down. For years, maybe decades, you've been operating at full speed, raising kids, working long hours, helping family, volunteering, running errands, planning holidays, juggling everything and everyone, and suddenly, you don't have to. You might not want to. But that old voice creeps in whispering things like, I should be doing more, or I'm being lazy. But hear me clearly. Slowing down is not giving up. It's not laziness. It's listening to your body. It's listening to your soul. Think about nature. Even the tallest trees know when to shed their leaves, when to rest, and when to bloom again. You're just entering a new season, one that calls for more rest, more reflection, and more moments that fill your heart rather than drain it. Maybe now you take a little longer to get going in the morning, or you prefer a peaceful afternoon over a packed schedule. That's not a flaw, it's wisdom. It's your inner self saying, let's focus on what really matters now. And if people around you don't understand that, that's okay too. They're still in their own seasons. What's important is that you recognize the value in being still, in resting when needed, and in protecting your energy. Now, another thing many people carry guilt about but shouldn't is not always being available for everyone all the time. Maybe you were the go-to person in your family for years, the one everyone called when something went wrong. You showed up no matter what, and you still cared deeply about your loved ones. But you've noticed that always being on call, always putting others first, has started to take a toll. Let me say this gently but firmly. It's okay to create boundaries. It doesn't mean you love your family or friends any less. It means you're learning to love yourself too. You've done your part. You've shown up probably more than most people realize, and now you have the right to say no when you need to. You have the right to choose rest, to enjoy a quiet day without interruption, to prioritize your needs. This doesn't mean you become selfish or distant. It just means you stop overextending yourself out of guilt. You can still be supportive, still be kind, still be present, but on your terms. And honestly, that's a powerful lesson for others to learn from you. That loving someone doesn't mean exhausting yourself for them. That respect goes both ways. Let's move into something a little more personal now, something that tends to weigh heavily in the quiet moments. Regret. Specifically, the guilt that comes from feeling like you didn't do everything you could have. Maybe it's a relationship that didn't turn out how you hoped, a career dream that stayed on the shelf, a place you never got to visit, or a hobby you never made time for. Those thoughts can creep in, especially during slower moments, and they can be so heavy. But here's what I want you to consider. Maybe those things didn't happen because you were doing something else that mattered. Maybe you were nurturing a family, supporting a friend, helping someone else find their way. Or maybe life just took a different turn. That doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you wasted time. We all make choices based on what we know and feel at the time. You did the best you could with what you had. And now you can decide how the next chapter looks. There's still time. There's still joy to chase. There are still people to meet, things to try, and parts of yourself that haven't even been discovered yet. You're not done. So instead of carrying regret like a backpack full of rocks, try laying a few of those stones down. Say to yourself, I did what I could, and I'm proud of that. And I still have more to give, to myself, most of all. That shift in mindset can be so freeing. It's not about rewriting the past. It's about reclaiming your present. And while we're talking about self-kindness, let's take a moment to address the guilt that comes with needing help. Whether it's asking for a ride to the doctor, needing assistance with technology, or simply struggling with something that used to be second nature. It's common to feel embarrassed, or even ashamed. But why? Somewhere along the line, we were taught that independence equals strength, that relying on others somehow means we've failed. But the truth? True strength includes knowing when to reach out, knowing that it's okay to lean on others. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. Think about how many times you've helped someone else without a second thought. You didn't see them as weak, you saw them as someone you cared about. Let others feel that same gift toward you. It's not a burden, it's a bond, and it allows others to feel useful, needed, appreciated. You're not taking away anyone's time. You're giving them a chance to give back. So the next time guilt creeps in when you need support, remind yourself that you've earned this. You've shown up for others. Now it's okay to let someone show up for you. Let's take a deep breath together, because if any of these feelings have been living inside you, slowing down, setting boundaries, living with regret, or needing help, I want you to know you're not alone. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of life. Signs that you've lived and loved and grown, and you're still doing just that. Let's keep going because there's more we can gently let go of, so you can make more space for peace, joy, and the freedom you absolutely deserve. Absolutely. Let's continue this gentle journey of release and renewal. You've already started to lift the weight of guilt from your shoulders, piece by piece. And as we move into part 3, I want you to feel a growing sense of peace, because the things we're talking about here, they're not just ideas. They're invitations to reclaim your time, your energy, and your right to live fully and freely. Now let's talk about the guilt of saying no to traditions, expectations, or roles that no longer fit you. Maybe you were always the one hosting the holidays, the one remembering every birthday, every detail, making everyone feel special. You did it with love and maybe even a sense of pride. But now, it feels exhausting. Maybe it's become more of a burden than a joy, and yet, the guilt creeps in. If I don't do it, who will? I've always done it, they're expecting. But here's the truth, you don't owe consistency at the expense of your own peace. You're allowed to say, I've loved doing this for years, but I need a break now. Or, I'll still be part of it, but in a different way this time. You can redefine your role. You can set new boundaries. And you can even create new traditions that feel more aligned with where you are in life now. Your value does not come from how much you do for others. It comes from who you are. And who you are is already enough. Let go of the guilt of stepping back. Instead, embrace the opportunity to step into a role that brings you joy, comfort, and ease. Next up, let's address something deeply personal. Guilt about how your body has changed. Aches, stiffness, weight gain, memory slips, energy dips. These things can all feel frustrating. And if you used to be active, agile, or quick on your feet, there's often this quiet grief that settles in, along with guilt for feeling that grief. Maybe you tell yourself, I should just be grateful I'm alive. And yes, gratitude is powerful, but you're also allowed to mourn the version of yourself that felt different. That's not weakness, it's honesty. Your body has carried you through decades, through illness, heartbreak, joy, movement, growth, and healing. Every line on your face, every stretch mark or scar, that's not damage. That's a map of a life lived. Instead of blaming your body for what it can't do, try thanking it for what it still can. Celebrate every walk, every deep breath, every stretch. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a dear friend. Kindly, gently, with deep respect. Letting go of the guilt around your body opens the door to loving yourself exactly as you are. And that kind of love is healing. Let's keep going. Something else that weighs on many hearts? Guilt over how relationships have changed or ended. Maybe there's a friend you drifted from, a family member you're not close with anymore, or even someone who passed away and you wish you'd said or done more. These quiet hurts can sit in the corners of your heart for years, whispering shoulds and what ifs. But relationships change. People grow in different directions. Life moves, shifts, evolves, and not all connections are meant to last forever. That doesn't mean you failed. That doesn't mean the love wasn't real. And if there's regret over something left unsaid, speak it now. You can still honor their memory. You can still write them a letter, light a candle, whisper forgiveness into the wind. That energy doesn't disappear. It transforms. You don't have to carry guilt for growing apart from someone. You can carry gratitude for the moments you did share instead. And finally, one of the deepest, most tender types of guilt. Feeling happy when others are struggling. Maybe you felt it when your children or friends are going through something hard, and you're doing okay. Or maybe someone your age is dealing with illness and you feel guilty for being healthy. Or you see others struggling financially while you're stable. This is a quiet guilt, but a powerful one. It can make joy feel selfish. It can make rest feel indulgent. It can even make you minimize your blessings. But here's what I want you to remember. Your joy doesn't take away from someone else's, and your happiness doesn't mean you're ignoring their pain. It means you're choosing to live fully, even as you hold space for others. You can be compassionate and content. You can be empathetic and joyful. In fact, your light might be exactly what someone else needs to see. So instead of shrinking your joy, share it. Instead of feeling bad for your peace, be a living reminder that peace is possible. You're not stealing from anyone. You're shining for everyone, including yourself. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Let that go. Guilt has a way of chaining us to a version of ourselves we've long since outgrown. But you're in a new season now. One where love, wisdom, freedom, and joy get to guide you, not obligation. And in the final part of this journey, we'll talk about how to fill that open space with grace, purpose, and your definition of what a fulfilled life really looks like.